everybody, my name is Nate and I'm so excited that you are here for another week of Journey Kids Online. I cannot wait for you to check out the really cool story. But before we do that, I actually want to talk about something that you love or that you hate. In fact, we all have them and we all have our opinion on them, but it's food, right? What food do we love the most? And in fact, we're going to play a game called Love It or Leave It. So let's hop into that. Right now it is game time. Let's do it. Love it or leave it. Let's find out about some of your favorite and not so favorite foods. Here comes round number one. Who likes tomatoes? They're red, they're round, sometimes a little squishy. Who thinks they are gross? If you love them, let me hear you say, love it. Come on, let me hear it. If you don't, let's hear you say, leave it. Leave it alone. Now find someone who agrees with you and give them a thumbs up. No one in the room? It's okay, just give yourself one. How about raisins? Who is not a fan of raisins? If you like them, let's hear you say, woo! If you don't, let's hear you say, ew! Come on, let me hear you. Now find someone who agrees with you and gives them 2 thumbs up. Remember, if you don't have somebody that agrees with you, just give yourself a high five. Remember, there are 2 more of these online today if you go to our Facebook page or our YouTube page. I cannot wait for you to check them out and be sure to share and like it. All right, who loves avocados? Avocados, Mexico. Who would rather eat grass? If you're a fan, let's hear you say, yum. If you're not, let's hear you say, no. Now let's find someone who agrees with you and tell them how smart they are. All right, I hope you enjoyed playing. I cannot wait to play again soon. Thanks and have a great day. Talk to you later. Man, I hope you had fun doing that game. I'm sure that even in your own house, you probably saw some differing opinions on what is good and what is not good. But kind of a turn when we talk about what is made in the image of God and what is not made in the image of God. It's really interesting to see because there's only one creature on the entire world, and luckily it is not Brussels sprouts. So you're good to go, or even blue cheese, right? It is you and me. And today's big picture question, like it was just last week we started it, is why did God create people? Why did God create people? So you may remember the answer from last week, but if you don't, that's okay. Our story today is going to talk a little bit more about that. I cannot wait to hop into it and let you see it. So let's watch the story together.
Jesus went to Jerusalem and stood by the pool of Bethesda. Many people were at the pool who were blind, lame, or paralyzed. Jesus noticed a man who could not walk. He had been lying there for a long time. Jesus asked him, "Do you want to get well?" The man answered, "Sir, I have no one to put me in the pool when the water is stirred up. Someone else always gets in before me." The man thought if he could get into the water, he would be healed. Jesus told him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." Right away, the man was miraculously healed.
Wow.
He picked up his mat and started to walk. This happened on the Sabbath, so the Jews told the man who was healed, "It is against the law to pick up your mat on the Sabbath." The man replied, "The man who healed me told me to pick up my mat and walk." "Who was this man?" the Jews asked. But the man who was healed did not know who had healed him. By this time, Jesus had slipped away into the crowd. Later, Jesus found the healed man in the temple. Jesus said to him, "See, you are healed. Do not sin anymore, so that something worse doesn't happen to you." Then the man went to the Jews and told them that Jesus had healed him. So the Jews began persecuting Jesus because he was healing people on the Sabbath. Jesus told the Jews, "My Father is still working, and I am working too." Now the Jews wanted even more to kill Jesus because he wasn't just breaking their rules about the Sabbath. He was saying that God is his Father, making himself equal to God. Jesus is God's Son, and he always did what God said was right. The man at the pool was unable to help himself. Jesus healed him, and he obeyed Jesus' commands. In a similar way, we are unable to free ourselves from sin. Jesus calls us to trust in him. When we trust in Jesus, he frees us from the power of sin and death so we can follow him and obey him.
All right, so in our story, our big picture answer was right there from our big picture question. Our big picture question is what? Why did God create people? The answer is God created people to worship him, love him, and show his glory. Those three things are so important. They all have different aspects to them. Worship him because we know he is the one, right? Love him because, well, he first loved us. And show his glory because he does amazing and magnificent things just like our story showed today. In fact, it is crazy how God even makes some things that don't even seem possible. Many things are times called miracles, but in reality, it's just God doing God stuff, right? It's stuff outside of our control, outside of our power and realm, and we go, wow, that is so cool, right? In fact, I want to show you a little trick to talk about this, and so let's actually hop into experiment time. You ready? All right, let's do it. All right, you guys ready for an experiment? Okay, so, all right, we have a cup of water, all right? We have a straw, red's fine, cool, red. And we have another straw with a wrapper. And actually what we're gonna do here is actually just gonna rip some of it off, make a little, make a little trash here, whatever, all right? But we're gonna scrunch it up. Looks a little like this. All right, so, all right, and then we're gonna take it off the straw. Ow. All right, so now we have, well, basically we got trash here, okay? All right, so you remember today's story has somebody that gets healed, right? Well, so Jesus goes to the pool that the man's been trying to get in for years, but he can't get in because he has no one to help him. And Jesus, instead of trying to help him into the pool, he heals him. He actually completely heals him, right? And he tells him to what? Get up and walk. Right. Well, so this little scrunchy thing is kind of fun, but it's pretty much just trash. It was back to kind of trash before, right? It's just to protect the straw here, right? So you don't get touched, right? Well, if I take a little bit of water right here and I put it on it, it starts to grow. In fact, it even almost kind of looks like it's like it's coming back to life, right? Isn't that crazy? Like it grows back, right? It was all tiny and scrunchy and now it grows all the way back. Isn't that neat? In fact, sometimes Jesus's power looks like this, where he takes something that just looks like something unwanted and he makes something cool happen, right? He makes it come back to life. But unlike this, Jesus's real power, right? The man came back. In fact, he wasn't just healed for a day. He was healed even to the next day when Jesus met him again at the temple. And so the coolest thing is that he got to testify. So what has God done in your life? What has God changed in your life that it looked dead from one time and God made it back to life? In fact, many people take what they call their salvation, or they take being saved as coming from death to life. That means life true, life eternal. That only comes through Jesus. All right, let's hop back into our story. I think we got some more to talk about. So let's go ahead and do that, all right? How do I get out of here? I think it's this way, right? Feel free to do that experiment sometime at a restaurant. Sure, make a big mess, maybe even at home, but show your friends. But don't forget what it's all about. Talk about how God created something that just looks like trash, and he redeems it, or he brings it back to life. He shows it having new life, but it's really his power that does all those things. Isn't it amazing? Now, that little trick is not real life. In fact, God is real life, and it's not even exactly like that, it's even more than that. That God doesn't just make it seem like He's redeeming, He actually redeems. In fact, you and me are redeemed if we choose to love Him and follow what He has. He is so special and He loves us so much. In fact, He loves everybody so much. And well, today's question from kids is really powerful, and I want you to be listening because my friend Pastor Brian shares about his own family and what he goes through. So let's check out this video together.
Hey there, I'm Pastor Brian, and it's time for Questions from Kids. Lucy from Wichita, Kansas asks,
why does God allow people to have disabilities?
Lucy, that is a fantastic question. You know, it's one that is really important to me because I have a daughter with a disability. She has a limb difference. And so this is a question that my family has wrestled with for some time, and so I'm glad you asked it. Well, here's the big idea, that people are born with disabilities in part because we live in a broken world. Sin has infected every part of this world, and that includes that at times people are born with disabilities, like my daughter who only has one leg and not two. And so that's the real reason in a nutshell. But let me unpack that for a minute more because I think this is really important. And this is something that we have really worked hard to communicate to my daughter and others. And it's this, that there are no accidents for God. That my daughter was knit together in the womb the way that God wanted her to be, and other people with disabilities are knit together the way God wanted them to be. Now, it's hard for us to understand this, but again, we remember everything God does is for His glory and our good. And so God has a purpose in disabilities. He's got a purpose in doing this. You know, we saw that in the story today with the man who was lame, that God used him to draw other people to Himself. And so we see that God can use even disabilities, things that are really difficult. And we wouldn't want somebody to be born with a disability, but God can use even those difficult things in our lives to draw other people to Him, to help us understand how good He is and how loving He is. And here's the wonderful thing, that Christ came to make everything wrong right again one day. And here's our hope. My hope is that one day my daughter will run in heaven with two legs when God has made everything right again. And so everybody who has a disability has that to look forward to, that God will make right all wrongs through Jesus Christ. So here's a question back for you. How can you show love to people of all abilities?
What a cool story. Listen, I know most kids don't necessarily always look down upon others that are different, but sometimes we just don't know what to do with them, right? We don't know what they mean, but I think if we really think about it, we're all different. Sometimes you see it on the outside, sometimes not everything works, but I think if we really think about it, everything we are, there's gotta be something. There's something that we're not good at. There's something that maybe that you already found that you're great at. Maybe you haven't found that yet, and that's okay too. God made you special. But that doesn't mean God didn't create a person that you can see on the outside different than you. He made them on purpose. He made them for His glory. Why did God create people? To worship Him, to love Him, and to show His glory. That includes the people that may not look like us, act like us, or even are able like us. That doesn't mean He didn't make them special and amazing. I hope you see that through our story and even through our question today. I cannot wait to see you guys again soon and join together very soon. Thanks and have a great day. Bye.